Hello my friends, my name is Olivia. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. Today we are going to do a big fall book haul, and I have been looking forward to this video for so long now, and when I say a big fall book haul, I'm talking about like there's 40 to 50 books sitting in front of me right now. That being said, I am not going to be going super in depth of the synopses of all these books, but I tend to pick up books this time of year solely based on vibe and not necessarily the synopsis. So I'm going to be explaining a little bit why I picked up all of these books. I think I have been collecting books since the end of July maybe. Of course, you guys know I've moved and all of that, and so things just got kind of hectic, so I have not been able to keep up with book hauls. So here we are. I have a lot to catch you guys up on. A lot of these, if not all of them, are on my fall TBR. I've got a lot to read and I've got to get to it this year, but I am just so excited to share all of these books with you guys. So if you're like me and you love a good hot apple cider, go ahead and grab yourself a cup, grab some coffee, grab a snack, grab whatever it is, a blanket to make you cozy, because this is going to be a pretty long haul. In this haul, I also have a lot of different genres, so we're going to be starting with kind of those cozy witchy romance vibes. I also have fantasy, I have middle grade, spooky graphic novels. I kind of have some books that are borderline fantasy but also horror, so there's definitely a lot here for everyone, so stay tuned. I'm sure you guys will be able to find a new recommendation, and let's just get straight into it. And of course, I had to start off this book haul with my anticipated fall release of this year. I'm so glad this book is finally out. It's called The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and guys, this is going to be the book of the season. A lot of these are going to be the book of the season for me, but this one especially sounds absolutely perfect. In this book, we have our main character who is pretending to be a witch on social media in order to cover up the fact that she is actually a real witch. She doesn't think anyone is going to take her social media seriously, but then someone does, and she's actually sent to a place called the Nowhere House, where she is trained, I believe, with several other witches, and that's pretty much the extent of the synopsis, and that's all I want to know. I just know this is going to be a great cozy fall time. My friend Elizabeth even said this reminded her of Mary Poppins. That sounds exactly up my alley, and I just know this is going to be a great cozy fun time. The next book that I have already read a while ago and I have loved and recommended to everyone that I possibly can is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This is another book that is just absolute perfection for this time of year. You have family drama, but our main character is also a writer, so she's very familiar with other books and authors, so you see a lot of that in this book. You'll probably see a lot of familiar references, but we explore a lot of grief in this. We explore some sister dynamic issues, which I love, and if you can imagine Schitt's Creek mixed with maybe kind of small town Gilmore Girls vibes, but just having a quirky cast of characters was absolutely perfect. She also may or may not fall in love with a ghost in this book. I honestly just want to sit here and reread this now because I literally loved it that much. Absolutely chef's kiss. The next book I want to talk about is one that I actually haven't seen very many people at all talk about, which honestly makes me a little bit more excited for it because maybe I found a hidden gem, and that book is As Seen on TV. Can we look and appreciate this cover? And what really drew me in is the blurb on the front by Abby Jimenez. It says, adorable and steamy fun that's full of Gilmore Girls vibes. Hello, how can I not pick this book up? If she's learned anything from made-for-TV romance movies, it's that she'll find love in a small town, the kind with harvest festivals, delightful but quirky characters, and scores of delectable single dudes. Not only that, but this town is called Pleasant Hollow. Hello, Stars Hollow, Pleasant Hollow. It literally couldn't get any better. Now this book actually isn't necessarily fall vibes, but the fact that it is surrounded by serial killers and has a little bit of those mystery thriller vibes, I think would honestly fit very well for fall. It's called Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Ashley Thompson. I picked this up the day it came out. The cover just drew me right in, and it is a romance about this girl who actually moves back home to live with her brother in her dad's house. Her dad actually passed away, and so they're working on cleaning out the house, but she is convinced that her neighbor is a serial killer. She is obsessed with serial killer documentaries and podcasts and just true crime everything. I could relate a lot to this girl. I did start reading it, and it was really good. I loved the banter, I loved the humor, and I'm just so excited to see where this one goes. Next off, I am going to dive straight into the horror or spookiest books that I've picked up this season. You guys know I'm usually a cozy or fantasy reader or even mystery thriller, but I never read horror, so I'm a little bit scared to dabble within that genre this year. This year's gonna be the year, because when I read My Best Friend's Exorcism, that was one of my favorite reads of the year, and I want to broaden my horizons because I may be able to find some more hidden gems. Starting us out with a good old classic that I have here is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. My friend Kendall actually gave this to me over the summer at some point, and I love the show. Like, honestly, the show is a top 10 favorite, maybe even 5 favorite for me, and I don't want to call it like a comfort show, but I definitely rewatch it every single year. It's spooky, it's scary, you've also got a great family dynamic, amazing plot twist, the cinematography is gorgeous. I cannot shut up about it. So of course I had to pick up the classic book. I have been warned that this book is very different from the show. So that being said, I am a little bit nervous to go into it because I've heard this is way slower of a pace. It's definitely not as spooky, which makes me a little bit sad and hesitant, like I said, but I do still really want to give this a shot. So this book, The Silent Companions, actually scares me a lot because this cover is really freaky to me. I think it's kind of ugly, but it was super cheap on Book Outlet. I placed a massive haul at some point from Book Outlet, and they didn't have the pretty cover, but that's okay. I originally heard about this book from Desi over at Darling Desi, I think a couple years ago, and this just sounds like an amazing gothic tale, which I really enjoy reading gothic books. When newly widowed Elsie is sent to see out her pregnancy at her late husband's crumbling country estate, what greets her is far from the life of luxury she expected when she married the young heir just weeks before. When her new servants resentful and the local villagers actively hostile, Elsie has only her husband's awkward cousin for company, or so she thinks. Inside her new home lies a locked door, beyond which is a painted wooden figure, a silent companion that bears a striking resemblance to Elsie herself. Seriously, so freaking creepy. The residents of the bridge are terrified of the figure, but Elsie tries to shrug this off as simple superstition. That is, until she notices the figure's eyes following her. Every time I look at this cover, I feel like this girl is staring at me now. Highly anticipated read for me, and thank you so much to my friend Kendall for sending me this, is These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall. If you guys don't know, Rules for Vanishing is probably the top creepiest book I think I've ever read so far in my entire life, and I knew that when she was releasing another book and it had a haunted house and also Knives Out and gothic feels, that is perfect for me. It's absolutely perfect for me. So of course I had to bump this up on my TBR for this fall. I also just adore this cover so much. It sounds so creepy. It definitely sounds a little bit like the Inheritance games as well, which I did enjoy. If this has the creepy atmosphere like Rules for Vanishing did, I am hoping to give this a 5-star. The next book that I want to talk about is not only horror, but it's also very comedic, and I love this book, so I could not wait to put this in the haul, is Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. This cover, for one, absolutely draws me in right away, and when I heard that there was My Best Friend's Exorcism vibes, you guys know I had to read this one straight away, and I'm glad to say I gave this a 4.5 4-star, and it was nothing but a good time. So if you think of My Best Friend's Exorcism but with wine and even more humor, this is what this is. There is a part that has to do with a Roomba. That is all I'm gonna say. So if that doesn't pique your interest, I don't know what will. There is just something in this book for everyone. Speaking of my best friend's exorcism, I have recently just fallen in love with Grady Hendrix. I don't want to call him a new favorite author, but honestly, I think he might be. So I had to pick up the last book of his that I have not read yet, the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I know this book is controversial. There's things that make you mad, but I really want to know where I fall on the spectrum, and if this is just a good old fun time like his other books are, I'm here for it. I don't want to know anything about this. I'm assuming the book is about what's in the title, but I'm going into this one completely blind because I did the same for my best friend's exorcism, and it just made the experience so much more worth it. So I am really looking forward to probably reading this in October. The next book I have here is A Cosmology of Monsters by Sean Hamill, I believe is his name, and this book has been on my radar for about 2 years now. Once again, my friend Desi mentioned it on her channel, and I think she gave it 5 stars. She doesn't normally read horror either, and so for her to give it a high rating, I feel like I'm really gonna like it. All I know about this book is it's about a family that runs a haunted house attraction, or just a haunted attraction, but I know all of them deal with their own monsters inside of them. So I feel like there may be a little bit of psychological thriller elements involved in this book, but I have no clue. The next book I have is The Saturday Night Ghost Club, which is another book that I have not seen a lot of people talk about, but the cover continues to draw me in. I know that this book isn't necessarily a horror book, but I think it reads more literary fiction, if I'm not mistaken, but I do know that this is very Stranger Things vibes. I've heard back and forth reviews, so I just want to find out for myself. Next, we have The Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay. I am liking this book, but I will say it is all vibes and no plot. So not a lot is happening, but this is just a very vibey, intriguing book because we have this guy who's in high school that starts a pallbearers club where people who have passed away maybe don't have any loved ones to be their pallbearers. So these students step in, and we also have a girl who takes pictures of the dead bodies. The main character in our book is also convinced that the main girl is actually a vampire. I have no clue what to expect from this, but I am just enjoying the ride and hoping that I'll love it in the end. The next book that I want to talk about is Sundial by Katrina Ward. Oh my goodness, this book was just as wild of a ride as The House on Needless Street, and I didn't actually like this one as much as House on Needless Street. In this book, we have a woman who is trying to escape with her daughter her abusive relationship with her husband, and so she decides to take her daughter back to Sundial, where she grew up in the Mojave Desert. So that is all I am going to say. The topics that are in this book are just really good reminders for all of us that things outside of us that are this terrible do exist. I enjoyed it, but also, can you enjoy a book that's so depressing? I don't even know. Because I've really enjoyed what I've read by Katrina Ward, and I saw that a new cover was going to be made for Little Eve, I knew I had to get my hands on this one as well. This one is a little bit more cultish, I believe, but definitely more gothic vibes, which I am really excited for. I'm so excited because I gave Needless Street 5 stars, Sundial 3, where I'm going to be falling with this one. So switching complete different gears here, I'm going to talk about the 5 cozy mysteries that I have picked up that I am so excited to try this fall. And I do have to mention that my friends Lauren, Rachel, and Caitlin just started a cozy mystery book club, so I had to shout them out, mainly because they're the cozy queens, but they also really got me into wanting to try more of this genre. But they just started a book club, a cozy mystery book club. So I'm going to leave the information down below if you guys are interested interested in joining a new book club this fall, their first book club pick is In the Company of Witches, which I am super excited to get to. This just looks so freaking cute, you guys. This is probably going to be my first cozy mystery ever that I read. When a guest dies in the B&B she helps her aunt's run, a young witch must rely on some good old-fashioned investigating to clear her aunt's name in this magical and charming new cozy mystery. So I believe this is actually the first in a new series. I'm just so stoked to get to it and just discover, hopefully, my love as well for this genre. I also have two other kind of witchy cozy mysteries, which I think is really going to be my vibe, is A Potion to Die For. And can we talk about this cover? Oh my gosh, like I always just associated cozy mysteries with grandmas. Don't we all? But honestly, I'm a crazy cat lady, and so these covers really pull me in. And I don't know much about this one either, but we do have a witch who owns a potion shop, and a man who takes one of her potions one day, I think, ends up dead, and so she ends up being like the town's public enemy. So I'm not really sure what else is involved in this one, but it just looks and sounds so cute, and I had to get my hands on it. I also have here Bait and Witch, and I am so excited for this one as well because our main character is actually a librarian in a cozy cute town, and I think there is also a murder mystery, obviously. So in this one I think she may discover a little bit more about her magical abilities, and that's all I know. So I am really hoping to love all three of these cozy witchy mysteries, and I really think I will. I just love how they're all purple and they go together, and these just make me so happy already. Next, I have Death in Castle Dark, which I kind of picked up on a whim. I had asked Lauren, hey, have you heard of this one? It sounds really good, and she said she's really looking forward to it too. It says actor Nora Blake finds her dream job when she is cast in a murder mystery troupe that performs in an imposing but captivating old castle. When she stumbles upon a real murder, things take a nightmarish turn in this first book in an exciting new series. This cover, once again, is just so captivating to me. Even the lady at the checkout at Barnes & Noble said, oh my goodness, that book looks so good. How have I never seen it? And I said, right? I am just so intrigued by this one. And of course, we have another little cat in the corner, and I just love it. You guys know how much I love boba, so does this title not sound like me? It says Death by Bubble Tea. So yeah, of course I'm gonna get it, and I love this cover as well. This book just has to do with two cousins that actually run a food stall. Obviously there's a murder mystery, but the fact that this book is about bubble tea and there's even a boba recipe in the back, I mean, come on, this book screamed Olivia. Now going into my mystery thrillers that I have picked up or read recently, and I feel like all of these would be perfect for fall, actually. They're not necessarily surrounded by the fall season, but they just scream fall to me. And the first one I wanted to mention is They Drown Our Daughters by Katrina Monroe. I have never heard of this author before, but Jennifer McMahon blurbed this. So of course I'm gonna give it a try because I love Jennifer McMahon, and it says, will both break your heart and scare the hell out of you. Heck yes, I am on board. I don't know too many details about this book, but I do know there is a creepy town, a small town vibe in this book, which perfect for fall, where tourists flock because they've heard that there are girls at the bottom of this lake, and this lady that has Alzheimer's swears that it's a real thing. And I don't know why. I don't know the folklore or mythology or whatever behind what's going on here in this town, but I need to find out. Another recent favorite that I have been recommending once again to everyone I can is The Lighthouse Witches by CJ Cook. I had no clue this was going to be possibly a favorite of the year. In this book, we have a single mother named Liv who is a painter, and she is commissioned to go to the Scottish island to paint an icon, or basically a mural, inside this lighthouse. And she has 3 daughters, but 2 of them go missing, and one of them is the only one that is alive. Once this sister is finally grown up, she gets word that one of her younger sisters is finally found. But the funny thing is, her sister is the same exact age as when she went missing. A lot of interesting things happen in this book. There are so many different mystery thriller authors that this book reminded me of, but it was also very unique in its own special way. The next book that I want to talk about I read a little while ago, but this book is absolutely perfect for fall. It is called Hidden Pictures, and oh my gosh, it has been a long time since I read a book in 24 hours, and I think I read this in less than 24 hours. So if that says anything, just know that it is such a quick read, and that is due to the pictures that are in this book. Freaking scary. It gives me shivers to think about the story and the ending of this book. But in this book, we actually have our main character who comes out of rehab from being a drug addict, and she becomes a nanny for this family that has a little boy. If I say anything else, it's literally just gonna spoil it, so I am just gonna leave it at that. The next thriller that I am so freaking excited to read is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. I've seen a lot of my friends actually give this 4 or 5 stars, which makes me very intrigued by this. It's also blurbed by Alice Feeney, Sarah Pierce, Riley Sager, and Samantha Downing. Movie making can be murder. Final draft, a psychological horror being filmed at a deep house in a forest, miles from anywhere in the wintry wilds of West Cork. Former soap star Adele Rafferty has stepped in to replace the original actress at the very last minute. She can't help but hope that this opportunity will be her big break, and she knows that she was lucky to get it after what happened the last time she was on set. Something isn't quite right about Final Draft. When the strange goings on in the script start to happen on set too, Adele begins to fear that the real horrors lie off the page. Okay, it sounds like it may even be a little bit horror-ish, which I am totally here for, but I have just never seen a mystery thriller that is surrounded by a movie, and the fact that scary things in the movie are happening on set just sounds so phenomenal and so intriguing to me. I also had to mention my 2 book of the month choices that I've gotten recently, and what I got for September is Killers of a Certain Age, which I feel like a lot of people are excited for this one. I've never read anything from this author before, but I do know that this book surrounds a retired group of assassins, and they're all women, and I've heard the comedy is absolutely phenomenal, and I do know it is a little bit more mystery thriller, but just the fact that these women are elderly just sounds like such a great time, and seriously such a unique spin on your typical mystery thriller. The pick that I chose for August was of course Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I absolutely adored this book. It reads very Agatha Christie-ish. It was heavily inspired by And Then There Were None, and she took a long time, I think 10 years, to write this book, and let me just tell you the vibes in this book. Just such a scary, like, coastal atmosphere. It was cold. Slowly, all of the characters start dying off. Some crazy things happen in this book. This cast of characters, when you do go into this book, just realize that they are very unlikable. I just get shivers thinking about the ending of this book because it shocked me. It really did. And I know some people have been able to predict it, but even if you can't predict what's going on, this is just such a moody, atmospheric read to enjoy this time of year. Cackle by Rachel Harrison has been high on my fall radar for quite some time now, and just the fact that this got a complete cover revamp hopefully tells me that it's going to be really, really good. I don't know much about this book at all, and the synopsis is actually super vague, but I do know our main character is supposedly a witch. This reads very cottagecore. It has a lot of cottagecore vibes, and I also know there's some big spiders involved, which scares me to death because I hate spiders, but hopefully the turnout will be worth it in the end. I do know this is very charming, very witty. It also reads very practical magic. I know this is going to be a dark book, but I've also heard it's funny and just has the perfect mix of fall themes throughout the whole book, which hopefully means I'm gonna like it. The next book is another witchy vibe book. You guys know witchy themes are like my favorite for this time of year, and this is is a brand new release called Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. This one is a little bit more on the fantasy side, I believe, but our main character is actually a bookstore owner, and she gets attacked by a weird creature one day and fights the creature off with a magical ability or powers that she didn't even realize that she had. So this is just another one of those books where our main character, I think, discovers how to learn their magical abilities. Another interesting fact about this book is Hazel and Beck are two completely different people. So we have a authorship duo here, which I think is also going to make this book extra special and hopefully extra exciting, extra good, and I'm just really looking forward to this one. Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater has been on my radar since the beginning of the year, ever since it came out, and I've heard it is like Bridgerton but with fae. So that's pretty much all I need to know to pick up a book if I hear fae or Bridgerton, and just the fact that it's combined sounds absolutely phenomenal. And if the atmosphere is anything like the show for Bridgerton, I think I'm really gonna love this one. So I'm hoping to buddy read this with a couple of my friends, but I can just feel my fantasy era starting to come back. I haven't read a good fantasy book in a while, so I think this is gonna be perfect to get back into it for this time of year. Next, I have Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts, and I have not heard a lot of people talk about this one either, but the back totally captured me. It says Tuesday Mooney is a loner, filling her time with old Twin Peaks and X-Files DVDs. But when Vincent Price, Boston's most eccentric billionaire, dies, leaving behind an epic treasure hunt through the city, Tuesday's life is about to change forevermore. I know this is a little bit paranormal, so I'm pretty sure this girl can talk to ghosts, but I have no idea how, I have no idea what that means, but I just feel like the title itself is really captivating, and I'm really hoping I'll have time to pick this one up. The next book I have is The Depths by Nicole L'Esperance, which is a gothic island mystery thriller, but also horror. Our main character, Addie, is not thrilled at all when her mother drags her along on this island for her honeymoon, and some strange weird things happening. She meets a boy who tells her the story that there's two sisters on this island that died. When I heard gothic and when the publisher reached out to me, I was like, yeah, this book just sounds right up my alley, and I've been seeing nothing but great reviews about this one as well. The next book, called Lakesedge, I am actually currently reading right now. I'm about 100 pages in, and oh my gosh, you guys, this book may actually be a 5-star for me. It's actually a Phantom of the Opera retelling, and it's not super popular, but I'm sitting here thinking, why? Because this is perfect for fall. There is a creepy haunted house, and this girl whose name is Violetta, her brother has a type of interesting curse on him where there are black shadows that come from his hands, and there's also this monster guy that kind of kidnaps both of them and takes them to this haunted mansion, and they just discover things about the town and about him. He actually killed his family, like his entire family. He drowned his family. So there's a lot to uncover and a lot to unpack in this story, but I also think because it's young adult and because it reads very light on the world building, I feel like this would be a really good book that people that don't typically read fantasy would also really be able to enjoy. Next, I have These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan that was so kindly sent to me by my friend Jordan, so thank you so much. And I am going into this book or this series completely blind. All I've heard this being compared to is A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I freaking love that series. I love Sarah J. Maas, and I feel like this is just going to be perfect for me. It says, a heart is a dangerous thing to steal. It looks like there's a pretty good love triangle. The cover just also gives me fall vibes, so I am just so here to read this because if Jordan loves a fantasy book, I typically have the same taste as her, and so if she sent this to me and wants me to read it, y'all know I'm gonna read it. Another fantasy book that I have picked up recently is This Vicious Grace by Emily Thiede. What initially made me pick this book up is because Kayla from Books and Lala picked this book up, and I don't think she typically reads young adult fantasy, and I think she gave this 5 stars. So I am very intrigued. 3 weddings, 3 funerals. Alessa's gift from the gods is supposed to magnify a partner's magic. not kill every suitor that she touches. So as you can see, this one is a little bit more heavy on the romance. I did start actually reading this on audio and it was really good. There's a lot of French words, I believe, so definitely recommend picking this one up on audio, but the cover alone, once again, just screams fall to me. Another big hyped book that I have seen around a lot recently is Ordinary Monsters by Jm Rio. This is a adult fantasy and I'm trying to pick up more adult fantasies lately, and this book is a chunker. But what clued me in to wanting to pick this one up so badly and read it super soon, it has been compared to Victoria Schwab, her Darker Shade of Magic series. I'm not sure if that's because this is set in Victorian England or Victorian London. There's two children with mysterious powers are hunted by a figure of darkness, a man made of smoke. There's an eerie estate, and it sounds like a game of cat and mouse where this guy is trying to track down these children, but I just love the setting. This setting sounds perfect for fall. It sounds very gothic, it sounds very creepy, and even though this is a massive 650-page book, I don't care because I know that my fantasy era is coming and I am going to read this, and I have seen nothing but 5-star reviews. So we are going to now get into the middle grade books I have picked up, which I am not a middle grade reader a lot. You guys probably have caught on to that from my channel, but for some reason fall and spooky middle grade is calling to me this year. The first one is The Haunting of Aveline Jones by Phil Hicks, and you guys, if you don't read middle grade at all, you will still love this book because I got so creeped out. I was so pleasantly surprised by this book, and the cover alone is absolute perfection. It's the perfect fall book, and I'm seeing a lot more people pick this book up, which makes me super excited. This book takes place in a cozy coastal town, and we have our main character named Aveline, who stays with her aunt for a week while her mother is away, I think on a work business trip or something, and she stumbles across this bookstore where she finds a book that some scary, weird things are happening in this book, and so she wants to investigate what happened in this town and what happened to this girl who wrote the book. And I enjoyed it so much. There's the old man who owns the bookstore, who's the absolute cutest old man, and I cannot wait to pick up the other two in this series. I honestly think I can say this book has really sparked my interest even more in reading the spooky middle grade genre. The next book I have here to haul is Dead Voices by Katherine Arden, and this one I don't know much about it, but it does take place during a snowstorm, and there is this ghost hunter, mysterious guy that shows up when I think these kids are stranded. You have a little bit of winter, but also more ghosty vibes. The next book I had to mention is The Girl in White by Lindsay Curry. Lindsay Curry is such a sweet author. She sent me this book and she also signed it. It says, "Thank you, Olivia, I hope you enjoy, but be beware of Sweet Molly." I don't know what that means, but thank you so much, Lindsay, and thank you so much to Desi for reaching out to me and asking if I wanted a copy of this book because it has those creepy coastal vibe settings, which is very similar to this one in regards to atmosphere, so I am really confident I'm gonna love this one. This is so creepy. I don't know if you guys can see that face there, but oof, yeah, I'm here for this. The next book I had to pick up solely because of cover and vibes is The Monsters of Rookhaven. Can you guys believe this cover? Seriously, I cannot. I am so obsessed with this. I do know it gives me major Addams Family vibes, and there's even little illustrations in this book. You have some like dark pages and light pages, which I feel like is just gonna make the book so much more intriguing and fun to read. I'm gonna leave you all in the dark about it because I'm still in the dark about it, and I think that's the perfect way to go into this book. The next book is called Whispering Pines, which is also by another author, duology, which is super cool, but I picked this one up because I've heard it has Stranger Things vibes, which you guys know is totally me. Several kids go missing in this book and they come back with zombie eyes. So yeah, Their eyes are missing and they look like zombies. So now that we are getting very close to the end of this book haul, I do want to talk about the few graphic novels and manga that I personally feel like are perfect for this time of season, and I want to start by talking about the Witches of Brooklyn, which I know absolutely nothing about. I just love the inside. The inside is perfect. If I love an art style of a graphic novel, I will pick it up instantly. I don't even care what the plot is, but once again, the witchy vibes, totally me. The next graphic novel I have here was actually recommended to me by my friend Keisha, called The Ghoul Next Door. The artwork inside looks very detailed and fun, especially for a middle grade. I love this art style, so of course I had to pick it up. Our main character Gray starts discovering and finding weird, gruesome gifts and items that are left for him, and he discovers that he has a secret admirer that is actually a ghost. This next graphic novel is called Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. This one is young adult, but if you like Harry Potter and you love witchy vibes or dark academia, this is the book for you. Look at the inside. Is this not fall? I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a haunted kind of school. I've already read this. You're gonna want to read this. You're going to want to put this on your list for this October because it was really spooky and kind of gory and gruesome at the end. There are just so many different aspects to this book that I really loved, and I love the cover, love the art style, and I cannot recommend this one enough either. If you love cutesy romances, Crumbs is definitely going to be your graphic novel. We have our main character named Ray, who is a witch, and she visits the bakery where this guy named Lori works, and they sell bakery items at this store that actually are kind of potions. She always comes in and eats a little romance bakery treat because she has a crush on this guy. It's so autumnal. There are a lot of things that are involved in this book. You definitely have a little bit more plot than just a cutesy romance, which I really liked about this story. But if you're just wanting a witchy, cute, lighthearted read for this time of season, definitely recommend picking this one up. I also have here another witchy manga series called Daily Report About My Witch Senpai. Can we just appreciate this cover and how cute it is? And this little iguana on the back. I loved this so much and I cannot wait to continue the series. We have these two characters that work together in an office, and this girl has been in kind of an emotionally abusive relationship, and she starts slowly falling in love with this new guy in the office, and there's just so many cute moments in this. It was a little bit harder hitting, I guess, and explored a little bit deeper topics than I expected to, but that definitely didn't take away from the story at all. The artwork is just so lighthearted and cute, and just like the cover, there is stars throughout the whole book, and it's just perfect. Honestly, this was just so good. The next book that I wanted to mention is The Ancient Mage's Bride. Her name is Chase Hitori, a penniless orphan troubled by visions. Sold as a slave to an inhumane mage, she is about to begin a strange new life filled with magic, fairies, and other beings of a fantastical nature. So as you can tell just from the description, this is very fall-ish, and even the vibes on the front, the colors, this mage is, yeah, as you can tell, he looks kind of scary. So I just think this is going to be another perfect fall series for me to get into. Well, my friends, thank you for joining me and watching this gigantic book haul. I sincerely cannot wait to read every single one of these books whenever I get the chance. But before you guys leave, go ahead and drop any fall or autumnal emoji in the comments below to let me know. But also let me know if you guys are interested in any of these books, if you'll be reading any of them this fall along with me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for supporting my channel. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys again soon in my next autumn video.